Good morning, children. Let's start our English lesson. We are in chapter 1, the Royal Parade. Let's have a short recap of what we learned in our previous class. The story is about Jaya and Deva, the elephant calf. Usually, Jaya and Deva would play in the river, splashing about and spraying water at each other. But today, Jaya was very excited to go home early. Do you know why? Because her father was returning from Mysore. The king of Mysore called Jaya's father a week ago because the king wanted advice on herbal medicines. Jaya recalled her father's promise that he would bring Mysore Pak from Mysore. She couldn't hold her feeling and hurried towards her home from the river with the pots full of water on her head. She was surprised to see the crowd in front of her house. She was surprised to see the crowd in front of her house. Now let's go to next paragraph. Ah, Appa is already home, she said. She poured the water from the pots into the clean trough in the cowshed and ran into the hut. The cows moved and walked to the fresh water. Here, Jaya exclaimed with joy to find her father at home. She hurriedly poured the fresh water in the clean trough in the cowshed and ran into the hut to meet her father. Now, what is the meaning of trough? An open container from which animal can eat or drink. Kids, you can see the picture. This is the container where animals can drink or eat their food. Jaya's father lifted her up and seated her on her lap with a big smile. He was telling the people from his tribe about Mysore, the new king there, the magnificent palace, a throne made up of pure gold, the wide roads, the crowded markets where everything was available, and the huge temples. He said the city was getting ready for a big festival called Dasera. Here, Jaya's father was explaining about Mysore city, how it is getting decorated for a festival. A new king there, he's talking about the new king, the magnificent palace. Magnificent means extremely beautiful palace, the throne made up of pure gold, the chair, the king's chair made up of pure gold, wide roads, the crowded markets where we can get all the things, and the huge temples. So in this way he is describing about the city Mysore. Now let's move to next paragraph. He said, during the festival, the king himself leads a grand parade of royal deities, noble families, military officers, soldiers, dancers, camels, horses, and elephants. The people listened in wonder as they sucked at their Mysore pak. Here he further explained the king takes the leading role in the grand parade, who is followed by royal families, military officers, soldiers, dancers, etc. The people of Nagarhole were wondered to hear about Mysore Dasera. Please take me to Mysore, Appa, Jaya said. It is very far, daughter. Your legs are too small for the long journey. This year I will take your brother for Dasera, said her father. patting her head affectionately. Affectionately means in a loving manner. Jaya jumped out of his lap and darted into the forest. Darted means ran quickly into the forest. Deva snorted. Snorted means made loud sounds joyfully on seeing his friend, his best friend again. Jaya ran to him and buried her face in his trunk, sobbing. I can walk too, Deva. You know that, but Appa will only take my brother to Mysore. I do want to see the Dasera parade. After hearing about the Dasera parade, Jaya wished that she could visit Mysore to witness the festival of Dasera. She requested her father to take her there, but her father told that it was very far, her legs were too small for the journey. He further said that he would take her brother that year. By hearing that, Jaya was unhappy and ran quickly into the forest. Deva was happy to see his best friend back to him. But Jaya couldn't control crying and she buried her face in his trunk and said that she could also walk to Mysore, but her appa would take only her brother to Mysore. Now, what will happen? Let's read next paragraph. Deva wrapped his trunk around Jaya and lifted her. Placing her gently on his back, he began to run towards the open field. Jaya knew this was not safe for Deva. Stop, Deva! She yelled. But Deva burst out of the trees and ran across the field. Jaya was shocked to see that the field was teeming with people and elephants. Deva, turn back! Jaya pulled his ears, but Deva was in no mood to listen. He finally stopped in front of a chariot. Here, children, by seeing the condition, Deva lifted her up and ran towards the open field. Knowing the situation, Jaya tried to stop Deva but was in no mood to listen and finally stopped in front of chariot. Now let's move to next paragraph. This is a very majestic elephant calf, said a fine dressed young woman in the chariot. Jaya soon learnt that people had come from the Mysore palace to select elephants for the Jambu Savari, the elephant parade at the Dasera. Children, this is the picture of chariot. A finely dressed young woman who had come from Mysore palace to find elephants for the Shera Jambu Savari found Deva, a very majestic elephant. Now let's read next line. Turn back, Deva! Jaya fearfully shouted into Deva's large ear. Deva shook his head. He took one step forward. Little miss, said the woman in a happy voice to Jaya, can your Deva come for the royal parade? Here, Jaya screamed at Deva to turn back, but the woman asked Jaya whether her elephant could go for the royal parade. Jaya was very scared for Deva. No, she shouted boldly. He belongs here in the forest. Of course, he will return to the forest after the parade. I promise. The woman's voice was reassuring. Jaya felt Deva was in safe hands. Also, she was so proud for her Deva. But Deva won't have any friend in Mysore, said Jaya after some thought. Surely he will have you. I can see how close you both are. In fact, you can teach him the royal march. Now, next page. Me wanted little Jaya. Yes, why don't you bring someone alone? You are too young to take care of yourself, smiled the woman. Can I bring three someones? Asked Jaya playfully. Definitely, and tell them they are the guests of the King of Mysore. That's how Jaya went to see the lights and the fireworks of the great Dasera festival in Mysore with her brother and parents. The graceful dancers, the smart soldiers, the brilliant band, the brightly decorated elephants, camels, and horses were all very fascinating. But Deva was the most elegant, stylish of all, and it was for Deva that Jaya and her brother cheered the loudest. Here, Deva played a very key role and fulfilled the popular saying, "A friend is in need is a friend indeed." Though Deva is an elephant, he understood the feeling of Jaya. Finally, Jaya could enjoy the Dasera parade with due respect with her family. That's the story of the royal parade. I hope you all enjoyed and understood the story well. Listen the video, read the chapter thoroughly and write word meanings in your English notebook. Thank you.